This video is an attempt to help anybody putting a CIP1.com rock and roll bed together. It has taken me several hours across a few days to figure this out. They do not have good plans, and the engineering is not the greatest on these things. First, I bolted the seat base together, which is this part. I fit it inside the van for the width I wanted, and then I took self-tapping screws and set the width of it with self-tapping screws. And you have to cut these to length because there's a bolt that interferes. So the back one you don't have to cut. You can self-tap screw it, but you're going to have to cut the front one. Okay, because it won't slide in past these two bolts. So then once that's set, you build the top, the two sections. And that was a real troublesome for me. One of these particular sections had a hole that was drilled wrong. This hole here was supposed to be drilled here, and it wasn't, and it took me days to figure out what was missing here. It seems straightforward. They have a lot of extra washers, and you will need to shim your washers here. Okay, I put the top on the inside and the bottom seat base in the middle, and then this bracket. Now, they don't have any good views of the brackets, so I'm showing you the brackets, okay? Supposedly these ones are A and this one is B, and these are supposed to be 1 millimeter longer. I could not detect 1 millimeter spacing in the bolt holes. I had to put several washers to space these out correct. And on this side, I actually had to bend the bracket so that the whole thing would move over, and I had to pull this bracket in. And then after that, I self-tap screwed on the bottom the bars. They do not include self-tapping screws. Okay. Once again, here's the brackets from the top side. Here's the top here. There's the bottom. Top, bottom, bracket. I know it's hard to see those brackets. The instructions are nearly worthless. Again, I put shims here, from here to here. Shims, you leave it just loose enough so that it operates. I had to do shims here. Okay, just enough to operate. Shims here so that it all clears. All right, everything on this is hanky-janky. I'm also having interference issues with the inside of the feet here. As you can see, the brackets are not welded straight. In my opinion, they needed to be welded over just slightly a bit the other way. Since it's not bolted in, it's going to be difficult for me to lift it up and put it in position. So I'm going to set my phone down here for a second. Lift this up. This comes forward. This goes in there like that. And the bed sits like that. And this is not bolted to the frame, so you can't tell. And I've got a chair in here supporting what where there's no support. Okay? So the problem that you're going to see is once it's out, everything shifts all wanky. Okay? See the clearance? See that? Now that part of that's because it's not bolted in, but when I pull one side to the other, again, these should have been welded over just a tiny bit, or I should have widened the top or something. You know, I could widen the whole thing, but then it starts to interfere with my measurements. So I'm not exactly sure why that all worked out like that, but the brackets look like this from the side when it's open. Okay. This tube slides down here and fits into this when it's in the up position. Sorry for turning the phone. Anyway, I hope that helps someone, because I wish I would have had this earlier, and that painting was done in 1992.